We are having different type of variables, like you know that we are having nominal variables, then we are having ordinal variables, and we are having scale variables. Similarly, I am writing here nominal, ordinal, and scale. Now the question is, how to measure the relationship between two nominal variables, how to measure the relationship between two ordinal variables, and how to measure the relationship between two scale variables. So this is the question, that how can we measure the relationship between two nominal, two ordinal, and two scale. Answer is that the first relationship is measured by chi-square test. The second relationship is measured by rank correlation test. Rank correlation test. And third type of relationship is measured by Pearson correlation test. Pearson correlation. So we are having the different tests for different type of relationships. So every researcher should know that the relationship between two nominal variables can be measured with the help of chi-square. And the relationship between two ordinal variables can be measured with the help of rank correlation. And the relationship between scale variables can be measured by Pearson correlation. So this is the knowledge that everybody must have. This chi-square is known as the measure of association. And association is a low quality relationship. It is a low, or I call it inferior type of relationship. Why it is an inferior type of relationship? Because we are measuring the relationship between nominal variables. And similarly, this ordinal and ordinal is also inferior, but it is superior than association, but inferior than Pearson. And the Pearson is known as parametric test, and these two tests we put in the category of non-parametric. The nominal and ordinal, the relationship between nominal and ordinal, between the nominal and an ordinal, we call them non-parametric relationship. And the relationship between scale variable and scale variable, and we put in the category of parametric. So you also know that the chi-square test and the rank correlation test, we are considering as a non-parametric test, and Pearson correlation test we are keeping in the parametric test, right? So let's start with the parametric, and then we will go back. So first of all, I am going to show you what is the relationship between scale variable and scale variable. Then after that, I will explain the ordinal and ordinal, then chi-square. So let's discuss first the measure of relationship with the chi-square, Pearson chi-square. Pearson chi-square test. Actually, first we identify we are having two variables, x1 and x and y. Suppose we are having two variables, y variable and x variable, and we are having some values of x variables and y variable here. Hello. Okay. So am I audible? Hello. Yeah. So the x and y variable, if comes like this, so there are many possibilities between the variable. So you can see that here when x increases, y also increases. In the first graph, we can see that when x increases, y also increases, and this kind of relationship is known as positive correlation. Positive. In this case, when x increases, y decreases. When x increases, y decreases. So this relationship is negative correlation. And here x, there is no impact of increase in x on the y. If x increases or decreases, y will not change. So in this case, we call it no correlation. So this is the logic. So basically, we identify that when x increases, how y behave. When x decreases, how y behave, right? So basically, after analyzing the relationship like this, we identify whether there is a positive relationship or negative relationship, right? So there are many examples of this relationship. Like if we call it, if we have consumption and income, and similarly we are having the in relationship between demand and price, right? Demand and supply. So we came across with different type of relationship, like money supply and GDP, then interest rate and in money supply, right? So like for example, if I ask you that what is the relationship between consumption and income you expect, so you will say there is a positive relationship. Higher the income, higher the consumption. Here we have a negative relationship. If you increase the price, the demand will come down. Demand and supply positive. If there is more demand, there is more supply. Money supply GDP positive relationship. Here it is negative relationship, because if interest rate is high, money supply will come down. So in this way we identify the relationship. Now the question is that how can we measure it? Now we can guess that there is a positive relationship between income and consumption. There is a negative relationship between demand and price. But the question is that how can we measure it? So now the logic is that logic of measurement I'm going to tell you now. First of all, we have the x variable and the y variable. Let's say we are having the y variable here, and I am just demonstrating the concept to you. Let's take only 5 values, so I am showing you the concept. So similarly, we are having also the value of 5 values of x and 5 values of y. First of all, we identify their mean. What is the mean of x and what is the mean of y? So we are having 2 variables. And first of all, we calculate the mean of x, and then we calculate the mean of y. After that, we calculate x, how much x is different from its mean, and how much y is different from its mean. So we find out that x1 minus x bar, x2 minus x bar. So we want to see how each x is different from its mean. Similarly, we find out how much y is different from its mean. After this, so we take the sum. This is called sigma dx, and this is called sigma dy. Dx means how x is different from their mean. So how much on an average x is different from its mean and how much y is different from its mean. Now then we do the multiplication of dx into dy. So which comes like this: x1 minus x bar multiply y minus y bar. Similarly, x2 minus x bar and y2 minus y bar. Similarly, we can write this. This, when you take the sum of it, the equation, this is known as x minus x bar multiply y minus y bar. Now, the whole concept of relationship comes from only this concept. This concept is known as the product of the divisions. The product of the division. Now, if you remember this concept, then I can explain you the two important concepts which is coming from here. And these two concepts are known as covariance and correlation. So before moving to the next slide, you just understand this, just see this once again. So first we are having the value of x and y. Then we calculate how much they are different from the mean, how much they are different from the mean of x and y. Then we multiply dx into dy. And after that we take the sum. So from this table, this demonstration, I am deriving two very important concepts that you have clarity after this session. This the first is covariance. The covariance can be calculated by taking the sum of x from their mean or y from their mean or simply n minus 1. So this formula is known as the covariance. But the problem is that the covariance is a very important concept, but there is a problem in covariance. It is an unstandardized measure of relationship. Unstandardized measure of a relationship. Right? Because covariance, if I am telling you that covariance between, suppose I am telling you the covariance between x and y is 23. Covariance between x and y is 1200. Covariance between x and y is 2. Covariance between x and y is 5000. So you cannot decide from here, right? Let's take 1 minus also. So here the problem is that you cannot decide whether it is high, low, medium, moderate, right? Because covariance value can take anything. If you take the covariance, if you calculate the covariance between x and y, its value can come in any range. So there is a problem that we cannot identify by looking at the value of covariance, whether it is high, moderate, low, what. So we cannot decide. So decision making is very poor. Decision making on the basis of covariance is very poor because we cannot decide by looking at its value whether it is high, low, what. Therefore, we call it unstandardized. It is not a standardized measure of relationship. It is not a standardized measure of relationship. Another problem that you can see here, suppose the unit of x is kilogram weight and the unit of y is the meter, right? So the unit of covariance is kilogram meter. This is kilogram meter because you know that the unit of covariance is the product of the unit of the x and y. So this is another problem in covariance, that the unit of the covariance is the product of the unit of x and the unit of y. So it depends upon the unit. it depends, the measure of covariance depends upon units of X and Y. Another problem. So we want something improvement, right? So we want some improvement in the covariance so that these problems will not be there. So now what happens? There was a professor called Pearson, and Pearson modified this formula and tell that the modified correlation is much better than the covariance. So covariance is having a problem in the measurement of a relationship between two variables. Now let's see what the this professor do. So I hope you understand that covariance is not very useful. Covariance is just telling that whether it is positive or negative. You cannot decide on the basis of the covariance. It depends upon the unit of X and Y. So the concept of correlations come from here. The correlation is nothing. It is equal to covariance of X and Y divided by standard deviation of X divided by standard deviation of Y. So this is the logic provided by the correlation, that if you divide covariance by sigma of X, sigma of Y, it will be unit free and it will be standardized. So I write here R because R is represented to show the relationship between X and Y. So when I call RXY, it means I am calculating the relationship between X and Y. And so this is the formula after solving is like this: X minus X bar, Y minus Y bar, and after that X minus X bar whole square, and Y minus Y bar whole square. So this kind of formula will come, and right. So exactly you can see the formula from the books, because so I feel some problem is still there. Standard deviation formula, actually I know that it is X minus X bar summation upon N minus 1. So that I am writing here, and this N minus 1 and this N minus 1 will cross each other. So in this, okay, so in this way we derive the concept of correlation. Now correlation is having many benefits. So I'm telling you that correlation between X and Y, this is R. This is known as coefficient of correlation. This value is known as coefficient of correlation. It has some property like it always comes between 1 minus 1 and 2 plus 1. The value of R always comes between minus 1 to plus 1. So 0 means no correlation, 1 means perfectly positive correlation, and this side we call it negative correlation. So this is the benefit of coefficient of correlation, right? And now I hope you understand what is the coefficient of correlation. Normally we also divide this line like this. This is 4 around and this is 6.5. So we call it, when it is between 1 to 4, it is low correlation, it is moderate correlation, and it is strong correlation. So in this way we can tell the magnitude of the correlation, whether the correlation is low, moderate, or high, right? So this is the concept of correlation and covariance. Now I'm going to show you the examples with the help of SPSS. So let me close it first, and I'm going to open the SPSS to demonstrate the correlation which I just explained. SPSS, and the software is going to open. Yeah, so we have the software open. I'm going to share the SPSS file with you. This is the file, and I'm going to open the data set for correlation analysis. So let me open this first. Okay, we are having. Suppose we are having two variables here. So I hope the SPSS screen is visible to you. And I'm going to find out the correlation between the two variables. The first variable is income and second variable is consumption. So first I will show you the covariance between the variables, and then let's see what is the correlation. So just go to analyze and correlate. You can see that it is a correlate option, bivariate, and we are having income here and consumption here. So I just uncheck this, and go to option. Okay, and let me check. Okay, so I think we will get option only when we click on the Pearson. Yeah. So I am going to click the cross product division and covariance. So let me try this. Okay, I have to click on this, otherwise software will not run the analysis. So I just click on cross product divisions and the covariances and Pearson correlation. Now the software is giving me three things. So I just remind you what are these three things, because I explained you in the whiteboard. The first concept is actually the sigma dx into dy. This is the concept number one. So you can see that this value is this. Then we identify second thing, covariance. Covariance is sigma dx dy divided by n minus 1. So this covariance value is given to you like 3342 and 2005. The third value is correlation, which is rxy, and this value you can find out here. So you can see that there are three values given by the software, and very easily you can identify that the first value is not useful for me, the second value is also not useful for me, the third value is highly useful for the analysis. So you can see very clearly that if you have this value like income and consumption. So if we go for income and consumption, we have to check this value, and you cannot decide from this large value that whether the correlation is there or not. It is positive, so we can say that positive correlation exists. Similarly, if you see the covariance, you cannot decide anything, right? So let me clear this first and explain you again. So now check income and consumption. Can you decide anything from it? No. Can you decide anything from it? No. Right. You can decide only from the correlation value. So here correlation value is found to be 0.951. So there are three important conclusions we can draw from here. So whenever we analyze the correlation, so we conclusion, there are three conclusions from each correlation. Number one, positive or negative. So you have to find out whether the consumption is positive or whether the consumption is negative. The second conclusion you can make is whether it is significant or insignificant. And then it is moderate, high, low. It is low, moderate, or high. So you have to decide three things from the correlation. So here I can say, so it is positive, and if you check the probability value is also given here, and you can see that the probability value is 0.000. This is the probability value. So we can say it is a significant, and its value is 0.951, which is high. So now my conclusion is that there exists high positive significant correlation, right? Or high, you can also write strong. There exists a strong positive significant correlation between income and consumption. So in this way we can analyze the correlation between the two variables. So let me take some more examples so that the concept will be completely clear. Okay, now I'm showing you opening another file. So let's open another file. We can do practice like economic variables. I am opening. In this variable, you can see that there are many variables: money supply, interest rate, price deflator, and GDP. Now, suppose I want to find out the relationship between GDP and money supply, right? So it is money supply and GDP. I go to analyze, correlate, bivariate, and let's take all the four variables here. And at this time, I do not require cross product divisions and the covariance because I cannot conclude anything from it. So continue and okay. So this matrix is known as correlation matrix, and this is the matrix which you can see in most of the papers which are based on the correlation. Now we have to conclude the results. Like if I ask you what is the correlation between what is the correlation between, okay, let's see, yeah, what is the correlation between money supply and GDP? So this is the money supply and this is the GDP. So this is the answer. So I can say it is a strong, positive, and significant correlation. So the answer is that there exists significant positive, there exists significant positive, strong positive correlation exists between money supply and GDP. Similarly, if I ask you what is the relationship between interest rate and GDP? So the answer is interest rate. Where is the interest rate? Interest rate is here, GDP is here. So answer is this. So there exists significant. Why it is significant? Because probability value is less than 0.05 and it is minus 0.555. So it is moderate, significant, moderate, and sign is negative. So I can say there exists significant, moderately negative correlation between the GDP and interest rate. So I hope after this example, this interest rate is clear to you. And so if the correlation analysis is clear, write the yes in the chat box so that I can know whether you are getting it or not. So I am waiting for the response. Okay. So I think now there are some questions which I'm going to ask you. Which is more better, correlation or covariance? And which is much better for the relationship, correlation and the covariance? So the answer is correlation, yeah. And if I ask you that which is the standardized measure of relationship, which is the standardized measure of relationship? Answer is correlation. And if I ask you which is the unstandardized measure of relationship, answer is covariance. So in this way, we can identify how to decide covariance and the correlation. Covariance is unstandardized measure of a relationship, and correlation is a standardized measure of relationship. So after that, I am taking one more concept, one new concept, that is the what is the difference between correlation and causation. So let me clear this concept. The what is the difference between the second point I'm discussing here? What is the difference between correlation and causation? So now let me explain this concept to you. So I am taking two concepts here, like salary of professor in India and crime rate in Africa. So this is my X and this is Y, right? Suppose I find out the correlation between that. Let's take the graph. So you can plot this kind of relationship between the salary of professor in India and the crime rate in Africa. Why it is upward sloping? Why? Because with time, the salary of the professor also increases and the crime rate in Africa also increases. So we can say, so if you do this analysis, what conclusion you can draw? You conclusion you can draw, there exists moderate, positive, significant correlation exists, right? Now if I ask you, can you say this increase in salary of the professor will increase the crime in the Africa? Or can I say, because of the increase in the crime in Africa, the salary of the professor in India increases, right? So this is not possible, right? The correlation is there, but there is no logical connection is there. There is no logical explanation or the relationship between the salary X X and Y. Similarly, I am giving you one more example. So let me give one more example, which will make you clear that what is the difference between causation and correlation. Suppose here X is your age in last 30 years, and Y is the height of a tree, old tree, in last 30 years. And it is found that the correlation between X and Y is moderately but significant positive, because in the last 30 years your age also increases and the height of the tree also increases. Now we found there is a positive correlation between X and Y, but the question is that, can we say your increase in age will increase the height of the tree, or increase in height of the tree is responsible for your increase in age, right? So this kind of explanation is not possible. You can see that, you can say that by my age is independent and the height is independent also. So the height of the tree increases independently, my age increases independently. There is no causation. So now here we are explaining a very important concept. Key actually correlation may or may not lead to causation. correlation may or may not lead to causation. What is causation? Causation means when change in X will cause change in Y. When the change in X will cause the change in Y, then this concept is called causation, right? And if causation exists between X and Y, then you can study this causation with the help of regression. So this is the concept. And if causation exists, then you can study the regression between them. Otherwise, even correlation is not meaningful. Causation is only meaningful if there is some causation relationship between them. Otherwise, there is no use of the uh, correlation. I say correlation is meaningful if there exists some causation between them. I'm giving you one example. Suppose we are having the variable called GDP or money supply and GDP. So the correlation is found to be positive, strong, and significant. So can I say one variable causes other variable? Now we have to find out that which variable is causing other variable. Can I say GDP is causing money supply or money supply is causing GDP? So ideally, if any economics teacher is here in the group, he can tell you that increase in money supply may increase the GDP of the country, right? So this is the direction of the causation. So because here the causation is there, so the correlation is meaningful. Otherwise, there is no use of the correlation. So I hope you understand the meaning of causation. And correlation is meaningful if causation is there, and the correlation is not meaningful if causation is not there. So we divide the correlation into two categories. This correlation is called spurious correlation, and this correlation is called meaningful correlation. Right. Spurious correlation means without causation. Without causation, it is spurious, and with causation, it is meaningful correlation. So you have to take care of this concept that if you are calculating the correlation, there should be some meaning behind the correlation. There should be some direction of the correlation. Otherwise, there is no sense of using the correlation, because researchers do one thing. Researcher finding out the correlation between temperature and the stock market, and they say that when temperature increases, the stock market declines. Actually, it may be because of by chance, but there is no significant relationship between the temperature and the stock market. So we should avoid these kind of correlations in the research. So whenever you apply correlation, you should check whether the causation is there or not. Otherwise, there is no point of applying correlation between the variables. I hope it is clear to you. And if there is a causation, then we can further go for regression analysis and all. So this is the difference between causation and correlation. Now the next concept which I'm telling you is called indirect correlation and the partial correlation. The next concept is also very important. The concept number 3 is indirect correlation and partial correlation. Now, what is the indirect correlation and partial correlation? So let me explain you one thing. Suppose there are three variables. One is the inflation rate, that is measured by wholesale price index, and another variable is interest rate R, and third variable is called GDP. Now, what happens? I'm telling you, if inflation increases, this upper sided arrow is increases. So if inflation increases, now you know that RBI do not want high inflation rate in India because inflation is not good for any country. Moderate inflation is okay. In India, up to 6% we consider good. And if inflation is more than 6%, 8%, 9%, 10%, then it means something is wrong. So, in order to control the inflation, the government takes some steps, especially the Central Bank of India. They want to reduce this inflation rate. Now the question is that how to reduce this inflation rate. So in order to reduce the inflation rate, they also increase the interest rate. What is the logic behind increasing the interest rate? That if interest rate increases, people will take less loan, they will do less spending, and demand will come down, and we can control the inflation like this. So this is called a target inflation in the country. So RBI have the concept of target inflation rate. So they target inflation rate. Whenever the inflation rate is more than that, then they increase the interest rate. And if the inflation rate is coming low, then they decrease the interest rate. Right? For example, in the past 1 year, the RBI decreases the interest rate many times. Why? Because the inflation rate is very low. And when inflation rate is very low, the chances of recession may come. So in order to avoid the inflation recession, the government is decreasing the interest rate so that more and more public will take the loan, and they will spend on their expenditure, so that the demand will increase and recession will not come. So if interest rate increases in the economy, then GDP will come down. Now, what is important in this relationship? Can we say WPI is having a direct relationship on the GDP? Answer is no. Why it is no? Because WPI is having an impact on the interest rate, and because of this interest rate, the GDP will suffer. So we cannot say that WPI is having a significant impact directly on the GDP. WPI is having the impact on the interest rate, and then interest rate is having the impact on the GDP. There is no direct effect. So if you calculate the correlation between WPI and GDP, this correlation is called indirect correlation because they have no direct relationship, they have indirect correlation, right? Means correlation is coming from some intermediary. The correlation between WPI and GDP is coming from some intermediary variable. There should not be any direct correlation between WPI and GDP. So what we do? Now the question is that what to do? So the answer is, if we really want to know what is the correlation between WPI and GDP, we should control the interest rate. So if you really want to study the correlation between WPI and GDP, you must control the interest rate, then you can identify whether there is a relationship or not. So controlling. So there is a concept called control. Now, what is this control? I'm showing you with the help of one example. Suppose there are 3 students in your class, A, B, and C, and both are giving examination of 5 subjects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they are sitting like this: A is near to B and B is near to C. So actually, A and B are close friends, B and C are close friends, but A and C are not friends. This is the actual scenario. In this case, the actual scenario is that A and B are very close friends, B and C are close friends, but A and C are not know each other. So, but they are giving exam together. So what is happening? So A will help B, B will help C. A, B will help C, and C will help B. So because of this B element, what is happening? The help go to A and C simultaneously, and if you calculate the correlation between A and C, it is found to be significant, positive, and high significant. But actually, they don't know each other. So how to find out whether A and C know each other or not? So you can do one thing. You can remove the B from here, and you can arrange the sitting of B very far from A and C. After removing the B from here and making some separate arrangement for B, now if you calculate the correlation between A and C, so that is known as partial correlation. So partial correlation between A and C means you have control of B. You control B. So now I'm writing the definition of partial correlation. So there is a concept called partial correlation. So we write partial correlation like this: rho X and Y and Z. Right. So this concept we can write the correlation between X and Y after controlling Z. So now read this sentence carefully so that you can understand that what is the meaning of partial correlation. Like for example, if you remember the theory of demand statement given in the book, so the statement is like that: there exists negative correlation between, or there exists negative relationship between demand and the price, keeping all other variables constant. In most of the theory, this word you came across, that keeping all other variables constant, right? So when you keep all other variables constant, this concept is known as partial correlation. So now what exactly we do in the partial correlation? So let me show you, because the formula is quite complicated, but let me show you the formula behind that. So partial correlation, partial correlation, and let me show the formula to you. Okay, so here formula is given. Yeah, so you can see here the coefficient. This R A B C, you just see R A B comma C. It means coefficient correlation between A and B after controlling the C. So we write RAB minus RAC RBC 1 minus RAC square 1 minus RB square. So this is the formula for calculating the partial correlation. And now I'm going to show you that how to run the partial correlation in SPSS. So I hope you understand the formula here. If you want to write it, you can note down. And let's move to the SPSS file. where I can show you how to find out the partial correlation. So here in this case, let me open some other file. So I have a very good file for this partial correlation, like exam anxiety. Okay, so in this file we are having three variables. One is called the revision. Let me write here, and I hope you can see the spaces file. So there are three variables here. One is called revision. The second is called anxiety. And third is called performance. So it is exam performance. Now because I took this data from a foreign author. Normally, what happens in their country? They ask the student to make preparation on the project. Suppose this is the presentation on the project, right? For presentation of the project, they do some revision kind of thing. And during the presentation, if they are suffering from the anxiety, it will cause performance. If they are not suffering from the anxiety, so their performance is different. So revision actually leads to anxiety because more knowledge, more confidence, less knowledge, less confidence. If you prepare thoroughly, the confidence level increases. And if confidence level increases, the anxiety level come down. Anxiety level come down, the performance is also high. So this kind of relationship we are having. So now I want to show you the relationship between the three, and I want to check whether if I remove the anxiety, if I control the anxiety, can I say there is a relationship between the revision and the exam performance? So this we want to see now. So let's do the example. So first I am going to see the simple correlation between the three variables, revision, performance, or anxiety and performance. So I want to see the normal relationship between the two. Let me see what result is there. Results say that there exists negative correlation between the revision and the anxieties. It means more revision, less anxiety, less revision, more anxiety. Good. Then I'm finding out the relationship between revision and the performance. More revision, more performance. There exists low but significant relationship between the revision and the performance. Then I want to see what is the relationship between the anxiety and the performance. You can see it is a negative correlation. So more anxiety, less performance, less anxiety, better performance. So we are having this kind of relationship. Now the question is that if I control the anxiety, is there any relationship between the revision and the performance? So this thing I want to check. This concept is called partial correlation. So now you can see I selected the second option here, analyze, correlate, and partial. And performance is coming. First of all, revision should come and performance should come. And with the variable which you want to control comes here. So you can see in this example, I want to find out the relationship between the revision and the performance after controlling the variable called anxiety. And let's click OK. So this kind of result will come. In this result, control variables you can see are exam anxiety. Anxiety is my control variable now. and revision and performance. So now you can see very clearly the correlation is only 133 and probability value is 0.184. And you know that if probability value is coming more than 0.05, so it means we cannot say there is a significant correlation between the variables. So now the conclusion is, so let me write conclusion here. So the conclusion here is that after controlling the anxiety, no significant correlation is found between the anxiety, between the revision and performance. So now I hope you got the answer. So in this way we can find out the partial correlation. So let me discuss one more example with the using the partial correlation so that you have some clarity. And this partial correlation is very, very important in research for researchers, because in your research you may take some control variables. You may describe the partial correlation, partial beta, partial slope coefficient. So this partial word is very, very common in research, and every researcher should know how to deal with the control variables in the regression model or in the correlation. So this concept of control variables is only coming from the partial correlation. So I hope you have this clarity, and I'm moving to one more example because I have this already ready file with me. Yeah. So in this case, we are having the money supply, interest rate, price deflator, and GDP. So in the so let's assume that we want to find out the relationship between interest rate, money supply, and GDP, and the price deflator. So if you ask a economic guy that what is the sequence of the impact. So I'm from not from economics background, but as a common sense, I can say if there is a improve in the prices, or there it will impact the interest rate. Interest rate will impact the money supply, and money supply will impact on the GDP. So this kind of relationship should come. So let me find out the relationship between them. So now let's see the relationship between them. Uh, so we found that the price deflator is having significant impact on the money supply, interest rate, GDP, and all. Now you can see that all the relationship are found to be significant. Suppose I have a research question. Is there any relationship between the interest rate and the GDP? If I control other variables also. So now I am going to the partial correlation, and I want to find out the relationship between interest rate and GDP after controlling the two variables. So here I divide the variables into three categories, right? One is the dependent variable, which is I think is GDP. One is independent variable, which is interest rate, and there are two control variables, which is one is money supply and price deflator. Now you see the answer. And okay, so money supply and no, interest rate and GDP, earlier they were correlated like interest rate and GDP. So this was the correlation you can see here. Before controlling, the correlation was significant. Before controlling, the correlation was significant, but after controlling, there is no correlation between the two variables, interest rate and GDP. It means interest rate and GDP don't have the direct correlation. They have indirect type of correlation. So now I hope you understand the concept between the correlation and the partial correlation, which is a very, very important concept in research. And let me move to the next concept called non-parametric correlation, which is also a popular concept, especially when you are dealing with the ordinal variables. So now I'm going to explain you the concept of rank correlation. Now, what rank correlation is doing? So let me explain you the concept first. The fourth concept which I'm going to explain, this concept is known as rank correlation. Now what happens, suppose, let me give one example to you. There is an interview going on, or there's a beauty contest going on. In these competitions, interviews, context, right? There are some judges, like this is judge 1 and this is judge 2. And there are 5 participants, let's say 6 participants in the interview, or in the contestant. There are 6 contestants in the competition, and these 2 judges are giving the numbers. So let's say judge 1 is giving different numbers. I'm showing you out of 10, 1 to 10, the number are provided like 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and 8. These are the numbers which are provided by the judge 1 to the 6 candidate. Similarly, judge 2 is providing the numbers like 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8. Now we want to know whether the 2 judges are having some similar judgment or not. This we want to check. So what we do, we will calculate the rank of the judge 1, rank of the judge 2. So highest marks means first rank, rank 1, this is rank 2, and then comes, okay, now we are having 2, 5. So these 2 people sharing the third and fourth rank, right? Third and fourth rank. So I will keep them 3.5 and 3.5, because the average of 3 and 4 is 3.5. So 3 and 4 is shared by them, and then 4 is my 5th rank and second is my 6th rank. So this is the rank provided to the different candidates. Similarly, in this case, we also want to rank it. So this is rank number 1. After that, 7, 7. There are 2 sharing. So 7, 7. They are sharing the which rank? Second rank and third position. So they are sharing the third, second, and third. Second and third. Second and third is shared by this one. So I will put second and third, the ratio average of 2 and 3 is 2.5, 2.5. Ideally, they are sharing the second and third. Then fourth and fifth is shared by them. So I will put 4.5, 4.5, and sixth position is this. After that, I will calculate the difference. 1 minus 6 is minus 5. 6 minus 4.5 is 1.5, 0.5. So this is called the difference in the rank, right? So I will calculate this difference in the rank, and on the basis of this difference, I will use this formula. I'm showing you the formula here. The formula let me show you. So here I want to see what is the formula for rank correlation. Yeah. So this is the formula actually. 1 minus 6d square n square n into n square minus 1, right? So let me remember this: 1 minus 6d square n square minus 1. So the formula is, this is d, and similarly you can calculate the d square. So 1 minus d square upon n square minus 1, something like this. So now you just calculate the d square, sum of the d square. N is 6 here, n equal to 6, right? So after that you can solve the value and you will get the answer, right? So the rank correlation, which is calculated by n square minus 1, this formula, there are two variations of this rank correlation. One is known as Pearson correlation, sorry, Spearman correlation, and one is another is Kendall-Tau. Right. So there are two type of non-parametric correlation. One is called Spearman and one is called Kendall-Tau. And what is the difference between them? So, because in some books it is mentioned that the Kendall-Tau is taking care of the repeated ranks, and Spearman is not taking the case of repeated ranks. But let me find out once again the difference between Spearman and Kendall correlation. There are two types of correlations: Kendall correlation and the Spearman correlation. Okay. Yeah, I think this is there. So Spearman rank order correlation, I just want to check that what is the difference between the two. Spearman use the rank of two variables and calculate the Pearson correlation between the rank. Okay. Okay, very good. And Kendall-Tau correlation uses the rank of two variables, but use the difference between the ranks and maximum possible difference score to calculate the correlation. Yeah. So this is the complete clarity which is given fortunately in this slide. So now what is happening actually? Spearman just find out the rank. Spearman just find out the rank and calculate the correlation between the rank of the two variables. Now what Kendall-Tau is doing? Kendall-Tau is calculating the difference of the rank and use the rank correlation. So this is the difference between the Spearman correlation and the Kendall-Tau correlation. Now I'm showing you the examples how to do Spearman correlation and the Kendall-Tau correlation in SPSS. But believe me, this is complete clarity between the two. Okay, let me go to the SPSS and show you the correlation between different correlations. Okay, I'm going to open the rank correlation file. So this is my Spearman correlation file. Yeah. If you see the data, so we are having two set here. One is the graduation marks and PG marks, because I want to know if somebody have good marks in graduation, can I say he will have also good marks in post graduation? So grade is the ordinal variable and it can be ranked. So basically the grading, the division, all these kind of variables are considered as the ordinal variable and they can be ranked. Similarly, in a interview, there are two judges, judge 1 and judge 2, and these are the different marks provided by the two judges. So we have two set of examples, and I want to know whether there is a correlation between graduation and post graduation or not. So I'm going to analyze, and I'm going to the correlation. This is the correlation, and I'm going to the bivariate, and I am taking two variables here. So I hope you can see, and okay, let me share it once again. Uh, so what I did in this file, can you see the screen? Because I already shared the screen. Yeah, there are two set of variables here: graduation and the post graduation, and the judge one and the judge two. And I am interested in finding out the non-parametric correlation between graduation and PG. So let me show this first. So go to analyze, correlate, bivariate, again the same formula, same command, and I am selecting the first two. Okay. So first two variables, I want correlation between them, and you can see that there are three options here: Pearson option, Kendall-Tau option, and the Spearman option. So I will uncheck this Pearson because I'm not going to find out the parametric correlation. I'm going to find out the Kendall-Tau and the Spearman correlation. So these two correlation I am interested to find out. Okay. Now you can see both the correlations are coming like this. Kendall-Tau say the correlation is 3.354, which is low, moderate, and significant. Why it is significant? Because p value is less than 0.05. Similarly, in Spearman, it is found to be 0.455. And if I ask you that what is the difference between Kendall-Tau and Spearman, the answer is very simple. Spearman find out the correlation between the ranks of the variable, and Kendall-Tau is calculated on the basis of the difference between the rank of the correlations. And Kendall-Tau value is always coming less than the Spearman correlation. It is a fact, and we have to check whether the correlations are same or not. And in both of the cases, if I say that Kendall-Tau is also found to be significant, Spearman is also found to be significant, then I can say there is a significant correlation between the two. And among the two, Spearman and Kendall-Tau, the Kendall-Tau is more relevant here. Not only in this example, whenever you apply the non-parametric correlation between the variables, the Kendall-Tau is more relevant as compared to Spearman correlation. So you have to report this Kendall-Tau correlation also. It is more relevant, always comes less than the Spearman, and it is showing you the true picture of the non-parametric correlation between the two. Similarly, let me show another example. In this case, the Kendall-Tau and Spearman both are giving you the result of non-parametric correlation, but Kendall-Tau is more relevant as compared to Spearman, because if you read the books of based on correlation, non-parametric correlation is based on the ranks, and if the difference between the rank is low, correlation is high. If the difference between the rank is high, correlation is always low. This is the concept, and this concept is only indicated by the Kendall-Tau. So I can say the Kendall-Tau is more relevant in this example as compared to Spearman correlation, right? So whenever you try to find out the correlation between the non-parametric variables, this Kendall-Tau suddenly becomes very important, and it is the actual correlation between the two ordinal variables. So let me, they are not substitutes to each other, but one is slightly superior, one is slightly inferior. Okay. Now if I repeat this example for judge 1 and judge 2, let's see what will happen. So I am going to repeat the example once again. So I am going to take this judge 1 and judge 2 example, and I don't think there is any other option other than this. No. So I click on the Kendall Tau and Spearman, as you can see here, and I am going to click OK. After that, the Kendall Tau is significant and Spearman is also significant. So I can say there exists significant correlation between the variable X and Y, two variables, and or we can say both the judges have the same meaning or the same consent about the data. So they are having similarity in the judgment. So I hope now you understand what is the correlation between the two judges or non-parametric correlation. So after that, I'm telling you some more examples of the correlation, the advancement in the correlations, so that you should read them. And so let me give 1 minute. I'm going to explain you some advancement in the correlations. Okay, now let's move to the. So earlier, if you remember, I told you that the correlation between nominal and nominal is studied by chi-square, which I will consider tomorrow. It is a non-parametric test. Then ordinal and ordinal is measured by rank correlation, which is Kendall Tau. Then scale variable and scale variable can be studied with the help of Pearson correlation. Now I am asking you one question, that if one variable is nominal variable, another variable is scale variables, can you find out the cross correlations or not? Right. So we know the same correlations. We know very clearly. Now what is the cross correlations like this? Right. So can I find out the cross correlations? Like is it possible that I find out the correlation between the nominal variable and the scale variable? ऐसा हो सकता है? It is possible. So because all of you are researchers and may have some knowledge, now tell me, is it possible that we can find out the correlation between the category and the scale variable? It is possible. What do you think? Any answer if you have? Okay. So I am just telling you there is a concept of canonical correlation. And this canonical correlation will tell you the correlation between the categorical variable and the scale variable. Okay. This is some advanced correlation which you will study further. Second concept I am telling you. So I think canonical correlation, you have idea that it is a cross correlation between the category and the scale variable. Second, is it possible that we can find out the correlation between one variable and many variables? Is it possible that we can have the correlation between one variable and the many variables? Yeah. So answer is yes. This is called multiple correlation. Multiple correlation. So we will use this concept in the regression model, the concept of multiple correlation. It is also the advancement of the correlation. Then third example I am telling you, is it possible that we can correlate the predicted value and the actual value of a dependent variable? Is it possible that we can have the correlation between predicted value and the actual value? Yes, this is also possible. We can find out the correlation between the actual values and the predicted values, and everybody know that the higher it is, better it is. Then the fourth concept that we have in the research is the square of the correlation. Square of the correlation. So square of the correlation is called R square, and this is known as coefficient of not correlation, it is coefficient of determination. So this concept is also coming from the correlation concept, and this coefficient of determination, you cannot imagine how important is this. Coefficient of determination say that suppose this is the variation in y, this is the variation in x. So this value is represented by R square. That how many variations of y can be explained with the variation in x, right? So there are some advanced issues in the correlation, and with in your life you will study these things further in advanced research. So I have covered four things today. First, I started with the covariance and the correlation. Then I explained the difference between correlation and the causation. Then I explained you the concept of the partial correlation. Then we discussed the concept of the non-parametric correlation, and then we discussed the advanced topics in the correlation. So after that, I'm open to the queries, and if you have any query, you please can ask. And
I request all the participants to ask question directly to our resource person by unmuting themselves. You can unmute yourself and ask directly to the speaker if you have any query.
I hope I'm audible to all.
Yes.
Okay. So in case of any query, please ask. Be free to ask your query.
Sir. Hello,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So what would be the reason of high correlation, high value of R correlation and no significant? If we find it is not significant, but R is high.
How much?
Hello?
Actually, the R depends upon the sample size actually. So according to the requirement, the minimum sample size should be 30. So sometimes what happens when we have the large sample size, even the R of 0.3 is found to be significant. And in case if the sample size is very low, even the R of 0.4 is insignificant. So it depends upon also on the sample size.
So it should be the same in case of low R and significant.
No, in this actually, because it is a parametric test, so we should had at least 30 observations, and after the 30 observations, you can conclude in the same way.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, because assumption should be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other query?
Sir, in the chat box, there are 2 or 3 questions. Can you take it? Sir?
Yeah, but I'm not able to see it. Whatever question comes in between, I already incorporated.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, but in the last, I'm not able to find out. Okay, I shared my Facebook page to you, where you can find out the data and the different PPTs.
Sir, one request
Yeah.
from our side that if possible, kindly share your whiteboard presentation to my WhatsApp so that I can share it with the participants, sir.
Okay. Actually, I have my notes, so I would like
Yes.
to share that.
Okay, sir, no problem. You can share
So,
it to
yeah,
me
yeah.
so I can share to the groups.
Okay, sure. I will share to you. I will send through WhatsApp,
Okay,
and then you can share all the notes to the participants.
okay, definitely, sir. Thank you, sir, for
Thank you.
today's
Thank you very
presentation.
much.
So we will meet tomorrow again, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I request all the participants to fill up the attendance sheet.